The Game Awards. So the Game Awards happened. And my God, what a terrible night for esports. Like, just no doubt about it. Just absolute hot garbage. I was like, I tuned in. I just caught the esports side because I wanted to skip out on the pre-show, and I didn't realize. I legitimately didn't realize that they were gonna just shoehorn all the esports awards into the pre-show. Like last year, what they did was, I think it was still in the pre-show, but the winners came up and there was a little bit of interaction, like a couple of interviews or something. And it's hard to remember because we have about fucking 50 award shows now where it's just all blurred into one. And listen, anybody, okay, this is how again, one of the worst things I ever did, I think, in esports, in my time in esports, is I really opened the door to some money-grabbing shitheels. Like, no doubt about it. Like, I saw some of these people, tweeting, oh, what a great night. And it's like, what? We were like a fucking afterthought. We basically got played. Jeff Keighley basically used all these esports orgs to tweet about the fucking awards ceremony. Tweet out. And then they gave us, I'm going to play the entire awards, right? And it's about 3 minutes. And they just rattled through them. And it's just this is gibberish. We don't even need to be part of the Game Awards. I've said this a billion times. If you want to treat us like we're a niche thing, then trust me, you're missing out now. The cheapest you'll get involved in esports is today. It's today. It is the future. It's not going anywhere. If you want to make big money, you have to be involved. Why do you think games developers always have online modes, competitive modes, leagues, ladders, ranks, MMR? You know what? Why is that built into pretty much every fucking game now? Sometimes shoehorned in. It's because esports is a great way to give artificial life to your game. It adds longevity, factoring it in if your esports component works. It gives viewership, which is in turn free advertising, and it encourages microtransactions and long-term financial commitment to a game. There's a million reasons just on the basis of marketing. That's even before we get into the psychology of competition and why people come back to playing games habitually. Just from a marketing perspective, just from a money-making perspective, if your game isn't suitable to have an esports component, it better be an amazing game. It better be like some Witcher 3 type shit, or you're not going to make as much money as you could have done if you just tacked on some form of fucking competitive mode. And I mean, there's some games where it's even shit like XCOM, has a competitive mode now, you play against other players online and there's ranks and high scores and shit. So anyway, I watched the awards. I'm gonna play you them in real time, and I was like, wait, that's the esports awards? That was it? It is mental. And think about the millions of hits and clicks and views that we generated on behalf of the Game Awards because of our huge, expansive networks and our huge reach. What do we get for it? We're literally a footnote. So let me just show you. I got the timestamp written down. You'll get an ad here. Hopefully. Oh no.
This ad is intended only for people who grew up in the 80s.
Renting VHS tapes is dope.
So is saving money with Geico.
And their 24/7 access to licensed agents is totally fresh. Word.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Your award will be presented by.
Right. The 80s were pretty rad. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. I just want everyone on record. I thought the 80s sucked as a decade at the time, but looking back compared to what we got afterwards. The 90s was pretty rad as well, I suppose, but after that, it's just been downhill, hasn't it? Let's be real. So, anyway, this is the Esports Awards in real time, okay? It starts 7:24. Just watch this shit, okay? And I won't even talk about the winners, the losers, the nominations. Just watch how we fucking just burn through these awards.
Omen by HP. But right now, it's my honor to announce some of the other winners in many of the esports categories that we added this year to the show. So for the best esports team, here are the nominees. Cloud9 has won this, I think, the past 2 or 3 years. So we've got Astralis, Cloud9, Fnatic, London Spitfire, and OG. And the winner this year, again, is Cloud9. So congratulations to Jack and the entire organization at Cloud9. Now for the best esports game, the nominees this year were CSGO, Dota 2, Fortnite, League of Legends, Overwatch. All right, this is a crowd favorite, I guess. And the Game Award goes to Overwatch for the best esports game. I think that won last year as well. All right, next up, the best esports event. The nominees is a new category this year, the E-League Major Boston 2018 back in January, EVO 2018 this summer in Vegas, the League of Legends World Championship, the Overwatch League Grand Finals, and the International 2018 up in Vancouver. And the League of Legends World Championship wins. Congratulations to LOL.
Yes.
All right, best esports
well
host.
Done,
Those
LOL.
nominees were
Right.
Alex, Golden Boy
Okay,
Mendez.
right. I did get erased from history, right? Okay, so I have to just throw this bit in. I have to throw this bit in because otherwise I'd be lying to you guys, and I don't like to lie. Right? Thank you for the sub there, Nikai. Yeah, you won't come up on screen. Sorry. So listen, I don't know if you know this about me, but I've been an esports host, right? I've been an esports host. And you know, I've hosted some events down the years. I've been doing hosting since I want to say like 2012, right? Probably, I think was my first one. So I've been doing it a while, and I was the first esports host to ever get employed by a major TV network. And I hosted one of the events that was on the event of the year list in the form of the Boston Major, which still, I believe, as of now, has the record for the single most peak viewership in any esports tournament on Twitch in a single channel with 1.3 million. You know, I think I achieved some shit. I think I did some shit. Now, here's the thing. I like everybody on this, you know, or rather, I respect the work of everybody on this list. There's like just no two ways about it. And for me, I think if I was choosing, you know, I'd probably go for Golden Boy, my pick, right? But here's the problem. Let's not pretend, just for 2 fucking minutes, let's just not pretend. There's a reason I ain't on that list. And it ain't got fuck all to do with the work I ever did. Right? You know I ain't on that list. You know why? Because I go after, right? So what you probably don't know is the people who selected the esports awards was part of a press committee, a press delegation. Not esports experts. Part of they were games journalists, effectively. Trying to think. There's a group of people I relentlessly mock on social media. Who is it? God, who is it? Who is it now? Furries, obviously, yeah. Okay, that's one of them. Sure. Who else, though? Who else? Oh, God. Oh, it's games journalists. It's fucking games journalists. Because they're a fucking absolute joke. And they remain a joke. So, the combination of, isn't he a gamergator? Well, I don't even know what the fuck that means anymore, and I don't know why anyone's still talking about a hashtag in 2018, you fucking mad cunts. Like, as if it was like your fucking Vietnam, you fucking losers, right? But this press delegation erased me off the list. Now, that wouldn't be the first time that's happened to me. I've been erased off many a list. I've been fucking blacklisted many a time. I've been ignored, boycotted. I'm still here. Never get rid of me. Never get rid of me. Got too much fucking heart up in this motherfucker. I'm like DMX. You know what I mean? Right? You're never getting rid of me. But when you erase me and you acknowledge you cannot think of another host to replace Richie Lewis, so you put somebody on the list who has never hosted an event in their professional fucking career. Anders Bloom has never hosted, not once, ever, never, right? Like, not one, never did. And you're so fucking determined to airbrush me out of esports history, you have to fucking do that. I mean, Anders is my mate. I love that guy, obviously. What's he doing on this list, though? It's mental. Like, you put Moses on there. Moses has hosted like 1 or 2 events, right? You've got to just make some shit up to keep Richard Lewis out of the awards. Like, I get it, you know? But that's the point. Like, it was done so deliberate. Like, it's so obvious. Like, people are going to say, oh, Richard, your ego is out of control. You have to know how the games journalist works. You have to know their little weasel brains, you know, and how they all talk to each other. They're all in Slack groups and stuff, no matter what publication they work for. They all hang out. Obviously, they were like, well, Richard Lewis is just a terrible person. He's just gross. He's just a gross person. Yikes. He's a big yikes. So we've got to get rid of him. We can't have him nominated for an award. We can't have him judged on a meritocracy. Mega yikes. A mega yikes. You know, like, just fucking. So we're going to put Anders Bloom on there. We're going to put Anders fucking Bloom on there. Never hosted an event in his life. Nominated for Esports Host of the Year 2018. Just to own the Republitard Richard Lewis, who's not even a Republitard. Might be a tard, not a Republitard. Ridiculous. Right, okay. I've said my piece. Right.
Alex Machine Richardson, Anders Bloom. I apologize. FJ Shocks Depotere. I know she's in Las Vegas tonight. And Paul Red Eye Challender. And the Game Award
Got
goes
Paul's
to
name wrong.
Shocks. Congratulations. Next up, the best esports coach.
Okay.
Those nominees are Reapert, Paracel, Zonic, Dylan Falco, and Yamato Cannon, and YNK. And the best esports coach as voted by the fans, Reapert. Congratulations to him. Now, best esports moment. This is the top moment as voted on by the jury and fans. First up was C9's comeback win in triple overtime versus FaZe. G2 beating RNG. KT versus IG base race. And OG's massive upset of LGD. And Sonic Fox, who's a nominee for best esports player, side switch against Go1 in DBZ. And the winner is C9's comeback win in triple OT versus FaZe. Congratulations again to C9. All right, well, we've got more esports coming up in the main show, but right now...
That was it, by the way. Like, that was it. It was like less than 3 minutes. That is it. Apart from the Sonic Fox shit, which we'll talk about. But, you know what I mean? Like 2.5 minutes. What, like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's ridiculous. You know, like, can't we have, you know, 10 minutes of a pre-show too much for us? Is it too much? Like, 'cause I know you love our engagement. I know you love our fucking communities. I know you love all them extra views we get you on Twitch. I know you love all of that. Unbelievable. Right? Now, let's just talk about some of these awards, right? And the winners and blah, blah, blah. I think the one that leaps out immediately is the esports team. Because how Cloud9 League of Legends team wins this, I don't know. I just do not know. Like, I think, I want to say, well, other than Fnatic League of Legends team, aren't they the only thing that didn't win a tournament? I think they're the only team that didn't win a tournament on that list. Like, Fnatic won their region. They were top of Europe in the regular split. Cloud9 wasn't even top of fucking NA, right? So, they got 3-0'd by Fnatic, who were also on the list at Worlds. So, it's madness. But let's look at who they're up against here. Astralis, like, obviously there's a little bit of CSGO bias going to creep in, right? A little bit of CSGO bias. But they just have just won that $1 million fucking Grand Slam, hands down the #1 team in the world, pretty much win every tournament they turn up to, generally do it flawlessly. They've created a dynasty that has spanned pretty much an entire calendar year in Counter-Strike. That isn't even comparable to the achievements of any other team on the list. But then for me, OG winning the International, the single largest esports tournament in the fucking universe that we know of. Okay, that's hyperbolic. Let's just say the world. I've been playing Stellaris lately. I've got the universe on my mind. Nobody saw them winning. It's one of the biggest, esports upsets of all time. It's one of the craziest tournament wins of all time in esports. And OG lose to a team that got to the semis of Worlds, got wrecked 3-0 in a BO5, and didn't even win their region. How was that team of the year? Did I miss something earlier in the year? Did I miss? It's insane. London Spitfire even. Basically, Cloud9 is the weakest team on that list in terms of argumentation for winning the award. So, that's mental. I mean, that is so mental. Then, the coach, again, how does, thinking about everything that team achieved, why does the Cloud9 League of Legends coach get it over Zonic, who would have definitely been my choice? Let's just summarize Zonic's achievements. This is a guy who has come into a team, revolutionized the way they play with actual perceivable metrics in terms of their utility usage. They're hands down the best team. They have the most nade damage, the longest flash times, best use of smokes. Their in-game leader has publicly said Zonic does so much for this team. We wouldn't be as good without him. He has stayed in the zone, and this team's been good, and he's still been dedicated, despite losing his father this year, right? But we're going to give it to the Cloud9 League of Legends guy because reasons. And then on top of that, okay, maybe CSGO is verboten. Maybe it can't be talked about at the Game Awards because it's terrorists and guns and bang, 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 The OG coach, are we saying he didn't have anything to do with that? I'll be straight up, Yanko, who it looks like is going to go from MBR. If he was on this stream with me right now, we were drinking a beer, he'd be like, I shouldn't have been on that list. Nice to be on the list, but I probably shouldn't have been on it, But, how does Christian then not get this? What the fuck have you got to do, dude? What? You know what I mean? You took a team that was ranked 15th or something, or going into TI, and you win the whole fucking thing. OG needed some fucking shine in these awards for what they achieved. So there's that. Then, just in terms of the wokeness, right? Because we all know you got to be woke if you work in video, right? You got to be woke. So, right, Shocks is somebody I have a lot of respect for. I know people might find this surprising because, she's worked for Riot Games. She works in League of Legends. But, I'm a type of guy that I'll talk to anybody. I don't give a fuck if we can get along. It don't matter what company you work for, I was firm friends with Deficio before he was even a proper League of Legends commentator, and firm friends now. It doesn't matter, we all got to walk our paths. We all got to go the way we got to go. So, Shocks is fucking really, really talented. Been the face of LCS and Riot's fucking, League of Legends product for so long, and never really got any fucking serious respect or or like industry people respect her, but externally, it's like, I don't know. She just seems to be in the blind spot for everybody. It's like you'll talk about Machine, or you talk about Red Eye, you talk about Golden Boy, and it's like you talk about Puckett, like Shux is a fucking staple of one of the biggest esports broadcasts and most successful esports broadcaster all time. Like, she should have a ton of awards, and she doesn't. And she finally gets this award, and it was like a double kick to the tits for her. It was fucking unreal. So first of all, like, I know she was in Vegas, but like, let her record a video, or just like first put a photo up, like do something, like statement, have somebody accept the award on her behalf, like whatever. And then the ESPN announcement, she tweeted out going, "So happy to have won." ESPN deleted the tweet because there was a typo in it. So her own, like, "Oh yeah, I finally did it," didn't even have any content in the tweet. It was like, fuck me, dude. Like, this just should have been a way bigger deal. And it's like I just felt really sorry for her, because I know when you work hard on a product as hard as she has, and you've had to put up with as much shit as she has, it's like, fake revenge porn, like all sorts of stuff that she's put up with and stayed there and been professional and done great work. Like, yeah, she fucking deserved some limelight here. Like, why not put Shux on the fucking stage instead of a fucking attention-seeking fucking furry dude? Like, I mean, if you want to make a fucking statement about how great esports is, why not put her on there? So it just made me fucking sad for her, right? Like, super sad, because she deserved a lot more attention than what she got. But anyway, so there you have it, right? Total esports output was 2.5 minutes. Why do we want to be involved with this again? 2.5 minutes? 2.5 minutes of Jeff Keighley droning on, like tipping who's going to win the awards. I haven't even said anything about Overwatch. Guys, let me tell you what's going on, because I'll give it to you raw every time, right? Overwatch has to win all these awards. Activision Blizzard, go look at their shareholders. It's go look at how much money they're hemorrhaging in Overwatch, and they're already trying to make cutbacks, slashed contenders to the bone, fired contractors across 2 offices, including guys like Jason Baker, who pretty much built the way that we watch Overwatch. If you're one of the people who do, constant declining viewership, season upon season, right? They need to win these awards so they can say to shareholders, "Hey, we made a great game." 10-minute queue times if you play at a significantly high level. And yeah, the game has a fuck ton of problems right now. So they are definitely out lobbying hard to win these awards. And let me tell you, when you start looking at the way that it all connects, like the Omen brand of PCs is like the title sponsor of the Overwatch League, and they don't sponsor like any other, or many other esports products. And then you see that the sponsor of these awards, and the business ties, mate. Just think about it. Put it this way: if you want to give Overwatch Game of the Year this year, all right, fine. You would have to do it on the basis that it's sort of new and it refined its esports product. I could make the argument for it if you wanted me to. Last year was a travesty. So you already jumped the fucking shark. To make Overwatch the esports game of the year 2 years running, the first time when it was just building its esports scene, and the second time when its esports scene is already in decline after such a short period of time, fuck you doing. And they have to do it. How else do I get people to buy into the great Overwatch League Ponzi scheme? And let's be clear, what is the only thing that gives my $20 million investment value? The fact that the next lot of slots are going to be worth double or triple. What does this sound like to you? What model? There's a shape, isn't there? Right? And basically, the only ROI you're going to get, like, short term for a fucking Overwatch slot is the fact that if these people come in and it's worth 60 mil and somehow it can all work and it can all click, you might be able to sell for 60 mil. With Blizzard taking 25%, by the way, of a hard out. It's a joke. It's a joke. So, Esport of the Year, I mean, it wasn't like, you know, we don't have a new esport coming out every year. You know, like, sometimes you're going to have to give it to the one that just had, like, the best events, the biggest viewership. You've got to look at it that way. And unfortunately, Overwatch doesn't cut it for me. You know, it's kind of a, you know, you should probably make a distinction. Maybe have, like, new esports game of the year, you know, something like that. Because, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, Fortnite couldn't have won it. Like, Fortnite still hasn't got a grasp of what to do with esports yet. It's doing these esports events, lots of money, terrible format, online cheating, you know, like, there's a lot of problems with it. But yeah, I mean, like, it's insane. It's insane to sort of see like these awards. So I was like, all right. Now, obviously, the big talking point, or one of the thing that blew up on social media, was the Sonic Fox, who won Player of the Year. Now, let me just let me get the nominations for Esports Player of the Year up. Okay, so a lot of people probably are going to think that I'm going to give like a fucking, you know, big speech about why it should have been simple. You know, there's an argument to be made for simple. I don't know if I would have supported it. The person who should have got it, right, isn't even on the list, honestly. So you can see it was Sonic Fox, Jonak, Simple, Taquido, and Uzi. Now, out of that list, Sonic Fox isn't a bad choice of winner at all. I don't know if this is going to, like, surprise people, me saying this, but, like, whatever you think about the guy, whatever you think about his speech, talk about that in a second. This is a guy who is a champion across multiple esports, young prodigy, beats the best in his, you know, in his field on a regular basis, has an incredible record across the whole year. There is no way you can say he doesn't deserve an award like this. If you do, you're being disingenuous. The point is that the person that, for me, should have got this award was unfortunately handicapped by the fact that he plays in a game that people don't even talk about in the esports world anymore, and it's Cyril, of course. Like, for those who don't know, because maybe you don't follow it, Cyril is a 20-year-old Finnish StarCraft 2 player who plays over at ENTS Esports, right? And let me tell you about this guy. In fact, let me bring up this Wikipedia page for you, because you have got to understand what this guy achieved this year. And I know StarCraft isn't that big anymore in esports terms, but this guy didn't even get a nomination, which is another fucking absolute travesty. Let me just show you. I got this Wikipedia page here, right? So this is what he did in 2018. And here's what you have to understand. The players he's beating at these huge tournaments, these are like, you can see here, major tournaments in 2018. So he's winning like the European qualifiers, you know, first place, Home Story Cup. These are the premier tournaments. So he from June, basically, I think it's something insane. Like, since March, he hasn't lost a series in StarCraft 2. He's beaten... He ended Korean dominance. He's like the first foreigner to win like the WCS Global Finals. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And like, think about where we were like a few years ago. We were like, will a foreigner ever be able to put the Koreans to bed? Will it ever happen? Will it ever happen consistently? This guy did it. This guy at 20 years old did it. Went 9 months out of the year unbeaten, won every major tournament. He's fucking Finnish, guys. He's not Korean. He's look, he's not. He's just a young Finnish dude. This guy not making the list is a fucking travesty. It's an absolute travesty. And for me, he would have been my winner. He would have been the guy that I, the guy that I picked to win. Now, I know I saw some of you mention it in the chat. I'll definitely also just mention it because he should have been on the list. Rafa, of course. Now, again, hampered by the fact that it's Quake. so not a lot of people are playing Quake, but Rafa had like an unbelievable run this year. I don't follow Quake as much as I used to, but you can just see his 2018 stats, you know, all these Premier tournaments, all victories, again, just having some unbelievable fucking flawless runs. And if you know Quake, like, you know, I used to run a Quake website when Quake Live first came out, so I got to meet like guys like Rafa and Cooler and do interviews with them and stuff way back when. So I know some of these guys, but like Quake was never really my jam. Like CS just took over my life. But like this isn't like, again, he's not some young phenom. This is like an old veteran guy, been in the scene for ages, finding like unbelievable levels of career form in 2018 and winning all these major tournaments. So he should definitely have been on the list, you know? So, I mean, you overlook, you overlook, like, genuine esports greats, like these guys. And like I say, Cyril, for me, should have won it, hands down. Nobody in the history of esports has done what that kid has done. No, like never. It never happened. We waited for the great American hope. You know, we had Stefano, right? Like, but I mean, even Stefano, like, this is a level of dominance that like just hasn't happened. So Cyril for me was like, you know, pretty a good shout for it. But instead, they went with Sonic Fox, and again, on merits, Sonic Fox is still a good choice. Like, he could have easily been like my, you know, second or third pick. Right, Cyril absolutely hands down my first. Rafa, arguments either way. Sonic Fox definitely in. I wouldn't have put Simple in my top 3. Right, I know he's the best player in the world. I know he's playing at a level that you know, we've never seen before in any version of Counter-Strike. But the reality is, he hasn't carried them to, you know, and I know what you're going to say. You're going to, fuck, how much does he have to do? But he's carried them, but he hasn't carried a very ordinary side to, like, you know, winning a major and stuff like that. So if he'd done that, I think if Na'Vi take the major and Simple puts in a god-tier performance and puts the whole team on his back, maybe I feel a little bit differently. But unfortunately, you know, the fact that Sonic Fox has competed in multiple games, understand that. It's like, it would be like Simple picking up, you know, Call of Duty and CS simultaneously and being a god in both of them, right? Like, and going to tournaments and winning tournaments in the same year. You don't see that. So you've got, like, Sonic Fox definitely has to edge it over Simple for me. So, but anyway, so Sonic Fox goes to get his awards, and of course he was given, you know, because of the relationship, like, if you've seen the coverage surrounding Sonic Fox going into this, he's had tons of interviews. Like, I mean, especially, you know, like, look, my views on furries, I don't give a fuck what you got to do. Like, whatever you got to do to get off. Like, you know, everyone's got a right to a fucking orgasm, or you end up like a fucking brain-dead, crazy mad incel cunt, or a femcel if you're a chick. You know, whatever, right? Like, I ain't got no issues with it. Like, do what you gotta do. But, you know, I've said this. If we ever get to a point in society where, like, I'm working in an office and someone walks in a fucking fursuit and starts marking their territory and, like, licking me or something, like, and I have to just tolerate it, I'm out. Like, I'm heading to the fucking hills. Like, I'm done. There has to be a fucking line in the fucking sand somewhere, right? Like, you know, like, it's a sexual fetish. You know, I might like to stick things up my ass. I don't walk around with my butt plug hanging out the back of my jeans to show everybody I'm anally fixated, you know? Like, it's so... I always thought it was kind of weird if you want to fucking drop the fucking fursuit in public, you know? Like, all right, cool, whatever. Proud of your identity, brilliant. Love all that, right? But again, the idea as well, I saw people going, oh, you just can't handle a gay black furry. It's like, oh my God. Like, it's just... Right. It's just, I broke my jaw from yawning. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, yeah, we get it. Like, no, like, we're all just so past that. It's not, you know, like, I couldn't understand it. And here's the thing. The speech was just such a missed opportunity. And it speaks to the guy's attention-seeking and narcissism, which was evidenced by his follow-up tweets. he could have said the same thing and made the same point in a different way, and I would have stood up and applauded it. Because imagine this, right? What he'd said was, oh, hey, everybody, I gave money. First of all, self-aggrandizing right out of the fucking traps, you know? Oh, I gave money to charity. Like, yeah, loads of people do. Like, it's kind of really gauche to talk about that. You know, like I was always brought up to say, you know, if you do something for charity and you have to shout about it and talk about it and, like, you know, say, hey, look what I'm doing over here, then you're doing it for yourself. You're not actually doing... You know, you're not actually doing it for the cause, you know? And think about all the great charities we've had in esports and gaming down the years, how many people have been involved in Make-A-Wish and stuff. And I know lots of guys that do lots of shit, you know? Sir Scoots runs a fucking gaming charity. You never, you know, he'll tweet about it when it's like, when he needs to use his reach to talk about it. But you never hear him, like, say, so anyway, guys, yeah, I've been giving all this money to charity, right? It's like, you know, there was a joke. Harry Enfield used to have... a fucking running gag on one of its shows where he goes, done a lot of work for charity, but I don't like to talk about it. And it was like a recurring catchphrase, this comedic character he had. You know, I do a lot of work for charity, but I don't like to talk about it. And of course, the joke is he's constantly talking about it, you know, because he wants the plaudits for doing it. So self-aggrandizing, you know, like everybody's done it. We just had Movember in CS, for fuck's sake, where people were doing all sorts of crazy shit to raise money for mental health causes and suicide prevention and cancer. You know, like, and it just would have been off to me if, like, while getting an award, you wanted to talk about, I did this really great thing, you know, whatever. And the thing is, there was blanket coverage about that, as if he'd literally fucking turned water into wine. Like, I was like, there's like 3 or 4 game fucking magazines writing about this. You know, player gives $10,000 to charity. Like, brilliant. Okay, good. Definitely happens way more often than you'd think, you know, like, but oh, the lepers, the arms are back on, you know? It was like, it's not a miracle, guys. Like, it's just, when you make money, you there's an element where it's like you want to, you do good deeds, you do philanthropy, you know, like people do it. So that was ridiculous. And I didn't like that, you know, because I just think don't talk about it, you know, like just everyone's going to talk about it for you. So I bring it up. But then the bit where he goes, you know, oh, I'm gay, I'm black, I'm a furry, I'm everything a Republican hates. I mean, it strikes me as being needlessly divisive at a time when everything is divisive on the political basis. And it's like, listen, you might want to make a political point during your speech. Hell, I don't know about him on the come up. Everyone I talked to told me this kid, like, basically had the red carpet rolled out for him every event. Everybody, like, looked to mentor him and look after him, even though he was a little bit of a cocky, like, shit talker, because everybody knew he was really, really good and everybody knew he was a nice guy. I never heard about any instances where he got bullied or verbally abused or berated. Like, the FGC pretty much welcomed him right from day one. So I don't know where these Republicans, like, he went out and tweeted about it afterwards saying these people have been you know, I don't know when that happened in his life, because anyone I've talked to doesn't say that. But here's the point that I wanted to make about why it was a missed opportunity. You could have literally said, hey, you know, like, it's great to get this award, Player of the Year. You know, I'm gay, I'm black, I'm a furry, and if I can make it in esports, it shows how welcoming esports is. And don't think that you can't do what you want to do and be who you want to be in an esports context. Now, if he says that, he's still basically making the point that there are people out there that don't approve of gay people, don't approve of black people. You know, you could make that point. You could make that point. And like I say, if he'd said it that way, I'd have been like, well, I can't argue. Like, he's called me a fucking alt-right. You know, he's called me a member of the alt-right on Twitter several times. So it's like, obviously I don't like the guy, right? Because I think, you know, he lied about following me on Twitter. And then, you know, when he was coming to E-League, he's going, I'm only going there to fucking get the check and rub it in his alt-right face and all this like weird shit. And I have no idea where that hostility comes from, by the way, because I've literally never interacted with him. It's like he just panders to the gallery. And this is what I mean. He didn't do that to make a point about, hey, you can be like me and be in esports, and esports is actually cool, which would have helped the industry across the board. He did it to get attention for himself. And then, like, his tweets for the rest of the fucking, 2 days afterwards, it was insufferable. He was like, oh, I'm so powerful right now, and all this. And then, like, I saw a tweet like, the reason everyone is so upset is because I have made something that isn't political, and now they have to think about people like me. And it's like, no, actually, for reasons I'll never understand, video games is one of the most, like, political art forms, political entertainment forms out there, and I've never understood why, when it should be about escapism. So for me, it was just like such a missed opportunity, and it just turned it into a fucking circus act. The whole, which is appropriate for a guy dressed as an animal, I guess. But there was the award ceremony had been completely apolitical to that point. It had been a real good vibe about it. Gamers coming together. Different games, different backgrounds, different countries. And there was like some people out there again who, like, I'm sure politically we would disagree with on certain things. But it was all done in the spirit of the award ceremony. And then it's like you get up, you spend the first minute of your speech like aggrandizing yourself. You're already making a bit of a fool of yourself because you're in a fursuit, which whatever. It wouldn't be the first time he's done that, And then it's like, you got to throw in the orange man bad at the end and fuck all Republicans. It's like, I know gay Republicans. Are they self-hating gay Republicans? I know black Republicans. Are they self-hating black Republicans? It's like, it was just a silly, needlessly divisive thing to say. And something he knew, it was very calculated. He knew he would get a lot of Twitter clout for it. And, he knew it was a big stage. And he knew if he just got up there on stage and said, orange man bad, he would reap the rewards. Indeed, I watched it. If you go look at his social blade, 30,000, 40,000 Twitter followers, just like that, for saying orange man bad. I mean, that's the world we live in right now. So I thought it was I thought it was a real shame because basically I thought this was like an opportunity to make a point, which, by the way, I would fully support. That the idea that, there obviously racists exist, obviously homophobes exist, and it's disgusting, and we definitely should stamp it out. But what I've always believed about esports is we've created an enclave that is largely immune to all of that because of the nature of what it is. We get to be who we want to be. We get judged on our skills because ultimately that's all that really talks. Nobody... it's so overplayed, this idea of harassment within esports, and I just thought, like, you could have made that point, and that would have just been such a stronger point, and it would have done so much more for the industry, but he wasn't interested in serving the industry. I mean, I also made the point on Twitter, which of course just got me fucking bombarded with fucking deranged FGC fans, as per usual, where it was like, hang on, haven't they always said they're not esports? Now you're taking an esports award? Why not say, well, we're not esports, fuck you? Why not? Why, you know what I mean? Oh, we're all about them principles, right? All about them principles. So it was, it was really bad. And then, of course, obviously you can, no one's ever going to criticize anything he says or, anything he does. Even saying I'm going to leave the VOD up. I'm past giving a fuck. This will get clipped and it'll be like, oh, look at Richard attacking Sonic Fox or whatever. When I've said, personally, I would have picked him above the CSGO dude who was nominated. I think he's a very worthy winner of the award. I just wished and I have no issue with him even talking about identity and how it factors into esports in his speech. I just think saying, hey, all Republicans hate me is like, it's just pointless. And then everyone's going, but look, they're all proving his point. It's like, you don't get to kick someone in the head and when they get punched, you go, see, I knew you were fucking aggressive. That's why I had to kick you in the head. I had to preemptively strike, it doesn't work like that. It was like just a really disingenuous way to fucking, get a lot of attention for yourself under the guise of trying to do something good for the broader good. But that's the guy, he's got... And one final point to his credit, or rather not to his credit, but as a defense, when I was like 19, 20 years old, I was a fucking savage. If we'd have had fucking social media around, you know, and I'd had an audience or a following at that age, you know, I'd have been fucking locked up. None of you guys would fucking like this version of Richard. You know, you wouldn't be able to disconnect, you know? So, I will say, like, when you're young, you say dumb shit. I mean, it's quite telling, isn't it, that a guy who probably wasn't even old enough to vote in 2016 is out there dispensing, you know, political wisdom. Like, fuck off, get me out, you know? So, whatever. So, the other thing that's worth talking about, let me just find this for you, was, where is it? Here we go, right? So simple, and again, it ties in with what I told you at the start of the broadcast, right? What you have to do is let it go. Like, don't say anything on the day. Wait, give some distance. Then the thirst for outrage isn't there. The thirst for outrage isn't there. But Simple doesn't, you know, Sasha hasn't learnt that lesson, has he? So he said here, just imagine to become best esport player in fighting game. Congrats, Sonic Fox 5000. But CSGO is a team game. There is more things to practice individually and with a team. This game is more harder and interesting. So what he's saying there is, and again, understand, like, English isn't his first language. It's very clear. He's congratulated Sonic Fox. And he said, in my opinion, winning it for a fighting game is fine because of what you've done in the fighting game, but I think Counter-Strike is a more difficult game. Now, I don't consider that an unreasonable position. I don't consider that an unreasonable position at all, based on, you know, having followed fighting games for years, having followed Counter-Strike for years. I think actually you have a much broader skill set required in Counter-Strike. And the fact that it's got a team component to it as well. And again, there's lots of arguments back and forth about, oh, when it's a 1v1 game, no one can bail you out if you have a bad day and stuff. But yeah, but then you don't have to communicate with anybody and you're not using a component of your brain while trying to concentrate and focus, because that's another part that, you know, a lot of players, even some top players, struggle with. Like, accurate, brief, succinct communication in a, you know, difficult situation in a short space of time. Efficiency of language, you know, stuff like this. So, you know, you can argue back and forth. Now, some people have said maybe Simple shouldn't have just said anything. That would have been my advice. I'm going to show you some comments in the replies. Let's just be clear about what he didn't say. He didn't say fighting games are easy. Right? You see that. It's not there. He didn't say fighting games are easy. He said CS is harder and more interesting because there's more components to learn to it. Let's assume what I mean there, rather than from a spectator. More interesting to dedicate yourself to as a professional. Right? And yeah, okay. I will also add, yeah, even though you're congratulating a guy, you know, like, there's probably an element where it's like, you could have just said congrats. You know, it would have been nice if CS got more recognition or just something like that. You know, I mean, the FGC would have still gone nuts about it, but unfortunately, the way he's worded it here, it does make it sound like, you know, my game's more difficult. Now, he doesn't say I deserve to win either. That's someone else to be clear about it. A lot of people just invented that, right? Because this is what happens. They imagine things. And then it's like a kid it's okay. Kids around a campfire telling themselves ghost stories that they make up, and then they get scared and can't sleep. That's the FGC. They basically imagine things that didn't happen and then work themselves up into a frenzy, like full-on Alka-Seltzer levels of frothing at the mouth about something they planted into their own brains. That's the FGC, and it's happened time and time again. It's the vast majority of the community. People go, oh, you shouldn't label them all. Why not? It's the vast majority behave that way. That's based on a hellish year at E-League, you know? Yeah, but you said you support death camps. I'm like, definitely never said that, you know? You're just making this up. But I can see you're really agitated by the thing you imagine. May I suggest some form of mental health counseling, you know? And the fact that it was like a mass hysteria, like a mass psychosis every time. And basically what it always boiled down to was, why are you angry at me? Because I'm not from your little scene. That's it. That's the only reason you're really angry right now. You can make up all the stuff you want, but that's the truth, isn't it? That's the reality. I know reality doesn't go over very well with you guys, you know? You play video games, you're over-invested in this fantasy about, oh, I'll play the pros and I'll go to my locals, or maybe one day I'll blow up and, you know, you're all weebs or furries or something. So, you know, reality isn't your fucking strong suit collectively as a group. I get it. But for me, you know, reality is important. We have to actually look at stuff, see how it is, and then talk about that, not what you fucking imagined, you know? So, anyway, thanks there for the cheers, Reykjavik on Steam. Good to see you, buddy. Always a pleasure. So, nowhere in that tweet does it say that he should have won. Nowhere in that tweet does it say fighting games are easy, okay? So, I know Foxy Grandpa. I like him. Good guy. We were another one who had Twitter beef, but then we hung out at an airport and got a flight back together and talked. And turns out, you know, we're just working class kids from the UK, way more in common than any of our differences. But disappointed with his reaction, obviously, because he went, if any CSGO player thinks fighting games are easy, I'll accept any money match from anyone in the FPS community, $1,000 minimum. In Mortal Kombat 11, I'll give you a month prep time after launch. Any takers, the offer is real. So nobody's saying this. But then, like, Simple replies with, and it's as equally stupid, I can give you 10k if you beat me in a 1v1 A map best of 3 with a year of preparation. So here's the thing. I would just say this. Both disciplines are hard, require specific skills. The idea that a PC FPS player could pick up a console pad, a fighting stick, and practice for 3 months and even get close to a pro-level fighting player is ridiculous. Same if I gave a console fighting game player a mouse, a keyboard, a computer, told them to install Counter-Strike, told them to prepare, and then let's jump on an A map. My gut feeling sort of tells me I want to say that maybe it might be that the PC player could translate to console slightly easier than vice versa. But it's a stupid argument. And you know, what does it prove? You know, hey, I'm a fucking, you know, I'm an expert pilot. But can you drive Formula 1 cars at high speed? Well, no, it's not. There's nothing there that's translatable. There might be some things, you know, but it was just really silly. So and you know, as Foxy says, I could spend a lifetime playing CS:GO and never be half as good as you, but according to some people, you should be able to mash buttons and beat us. And again, I don't know who those people were. I saw some dumb motherfuckers like saying shit like that, but generally all the insane comments came from the FGC. Like, let me just go through. And you can see, just so, again, if anybody thinks that Simple was being disrespectful to Sonic Fox said, I play 5 games, and he goes, oh, that's actually impressive. I didn't know about that. Great comeback in Dragon Ball. Keep it up for next year. I mean, that's the end right there. Any normal community would have gone, oh, well, you know, it was obviously just a mistranslation, you know, miscommunication. His first language isn't English. Just leave it there, right? I mean, look, they're obviously happy with each other. He's definitely shown respect and deference to Sonic Fox there, right? The end. No. So here we go. Let me find some of these for you. Right? And you can see here. But like, imagine yourself winning tournaments, CSGO, Halo, Call of Duty, Overwatch, and Splatoon. That's basically Sonic Fox 5000, but for, you know, Dragon Ball Band. Because it's not the same, my lovely speaker. They're 5 different games, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, it's going to start going. James said you're the people's champ. I mean, and again, I don't think Simple should have got the award this year. But just look, man. Hang on, I gotta find it. Like, I wish I'd actually took the time to space out the tweets, because there was some fucking insane tweets from the FGC. What was this one? I don't know what that means. Sonic Fox plays CSGO by himself against the whole team. Wow, CSGO is an interesting game. The other guy put up a fight before losing. CSGO is an easier game. What's the point of congratulating Sonic Fox only to also take a dig at him? Didn't. Right. then this was, and again, I've worked with Josh, right? He's a cool guy. What you said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. Well, what did he say? He just said, I think CS is a more difficult game. I think most people would support that. Honestly, I think if you've had a broad understanding of fighting games, I think you would, you would arrive at that conclusion. But yeah, there's like, I mean, again, I won't even go through it all. You saw that. Oh, this was the other thing. Yeah, it's salty. By the way, the most ridiculous word ever to fall into public lexicon, because you ask people, well, what does it mean? Why salt? Why salt? Where's the salt come from? What's it about, right? They never explain it. But yeah, so apparently he's salty, right? Like, he's upset. I mean, I really don't think Simple gives a fuck about not winning an award, right? When he's like hands down the best in his field. He's making a metric fuck ton of money in a country where his salary is like, his 1 month's salary is probably like 5 times the annual fucking wage of the average worker. Yeah, he's just living the fucking dream. And then you can see here people like, making arguments back and forth. Everyone disliked that, right? I don't know why. I mean, it's a fair thing. Stay salty. Again, that was Foxy in there. It goes on and on. I mean, like, there are hundreds of replies. Laughing my ass off. The salt. You don't just place them on the first 5 in every tournament for 5 fighting games. On it goes. And it was just insane. And they coordinated this on the subreddit Kappa as well. I made it to Kappa. There's hundreds of comments in there. Yeah. Like, just look how many comments are. Like, just in reply to this. This is what I mean. The FGC. It's like a fucking hive mind. There's one. That's gonna be a fucking yikes from me, dog. Of course, classic. Get the yikes in there. Oh, my sweet summer child. Get it in there. You're arrogant. In the FGC, you rely upon yourself, not your teammates. Mate, if you've seen Simple's fucking teammates, let me tell you, I think he'd rather be playing fucking 3v5 some fucking rounds. At least you don't expect anything from them then. Yeah. What an embarrassment for gaming. And again, just on and on it go. Like, look, this is all on the same day. All of these replies. Like, just look at this. I'm still going. The FGC, perfectly normal behavior. This is.
You're not even a real.
Perfectly normal behavior.
That's right.
Perfectly normal behavior. This is perfectly normal behavior. This is what you do for somebody saying, hey, I think CS is more difficult than the average fighting game. En masse, And then, when I tweeted about this, going, man, the collective of the fucking FGC is insane. Somebody went, well, you're generalizing there. Yeah, all right then. Fucking get me out. So, okay. What are you going to do?